Okay, we are live on YouTube right now doing a tier list. We're just going to start from left to right. Druid doesn't count, obviously. So we're going to start off with Barb. Barb, I think, is going to go in S tier for two reasons. Because I think for one, because of his MDR. He gets, if you put on Iron Will, he gets a straight up 30% MDR, which is huge. Because wizards, as we're going to talk about later, are pretty overpowered right now. So, I think he goes in S tier. That's the counter to the wizard, technically. Other than maybe like a crossbow shot to the face. But how often do those hit, really? Especially with wizards going invis. So, if you have a barbarian that can face charge a wizard, I think that's huge. And that's why I'm putting him in S tier. We're going to move to Bard. Bard, I think I'm going to put Bard in... I'll put him in C tier. And maybe 2 months ago, he would have been in A tier, S tier. But they just kept nerfing him. Like, every single patch, it was nerf after nerf after nerf. And they're still nerfing him to this day. Like, his Shriek of Weakness just keeps getting nerfed. Everything about him that made him decent is getting nerfed. And I think that it was good before, but now it's just like... He's there, but he's not really doing too much. Next, Cleric. We're putting Cleric up in please nerf. And the only reason for that is because he's the only healer in the game. So I think he's one of the best. I mean, they don't have too much to nerf on him technically, but he's just that good to where you need him on every single team. There's not a single team that's running out there without a Cleric, and I think that's for a reason. So, I think he goes above S tier. All right, for Fighter, we're gonna put Fighter in A tier. I'm putting him one below the Barbarian, and for this reason only. Wizards, once again, everybody has a wizard, everybody has a Cleric, everybody either has a Barbarian or a Fighter. Or you can switch in like a rogue or something, depending on what you're running. Like I know Repose J and all them, they run wizard, rogue, cleric, I believe. But yeah, so I think Fighter has a lot of counters, and a lot of people may not want to hear it, but they do. It's just true. Anything that does magical damage is just gonna run through them. Wizards absolutely run through them. Warlocks, a good Warlock can. If you're missing every single one of your shots, then there's not really much you can do. But Warlocks, if they play right, they can 100% just 3-shot any fighter in the game, even if they're in Abyss kit. And yeah, it's pretty insane. Rogues with their Rupture, take them down to half health, doesn't matter. They have a lot of counters, but they're still very good, and that's why I put them at A tier. Next, we're gonna do Ranger. I think Ranger's also gonna go in A tier. He just has so much damage, and I think that's what puts him up here. His longbow can do 43 damage, and they can just stack a True Fizz, which absolutely decimates anything really, except like a Barbarian. I think that's probably Ranger's biggest counter is like a Barbarian or a Fighter, one of the two tanky classes. Because they can just run up to them, unless they get hit in a trap, obviously. The thing about Rangers is a lot of people don't know how to play the class. They think it's a run and gun, absolute like machine that can just one-shot anything, which it was in the past. But they kind of tuned it down a little bit to where you're not doing like an absurd amount of damage. Like you're not one-shotting everything that you see. And if you play your traps correctly, then it can be very, very good. I think Ranger's more of a solo class than a team class. But yeah. Alright, Rogue. This is gonna get me a lot of dislikes. Nerf him. Delete him from the game, actually. Do something. Like, Rupture, Weak Point, they have so many options to kill any single class in the game. There's not a real total counter. to a rogue. They get a short sword. They get a blue-purple short sword. They 3-shot basically anything except a barbarian because of its health. So I think that needs a big nerf. I think that the weapons just need to be tuned down a little bit, or the weapons can stay the same, but the perks and the skills, they need to be tuned down. They put ambush back to 50% coming out of Invis. They made weak point, I think they nerfed it to 30 and they put it back to 40. So that also got a nerf and a buff. When Rogue was nerfed, it was probably one of the more fun times to play Dark and Darker. So I think if you take that into account, it is it definitely needs something going on with it. Warlock. He's gonna go in C tier as well. Basically, nobody really uses him other than maybe like Katie. I know Katie's really good at it. I think Warlock's more of a solo kind of class. Doesn't totally work in a team comp, in my opinion. Blow Corruption. I mean, Blow Corruption is very good, but I still don't think that it's a B tier or anything. Because I believe a Barbarian can beat it. I believe a Cleric can beat it. I believe maybe a Rogue can't, depending on how they play that. But I mean, I think there's a lot of things that can beat Warlock. The only thing with Blow Corruption is you just have to block them. And Cleric, Fighter, they can do that. Also, Bard can technically do that. So, I mean, there's a lot of counters to Warlock, and that's why I think it goes in C tier. I might actually move Bard up to B tier. Yeah, I think I'm gonna move him up. And here's my reasoning for that. Now thinking about it, if you're running like an Apollo type comp, like what does he run? Wizard, Cleric, Bard. I think he can be really strong. Gives your wizard all the buffs. He goes in PvPs, and then you also have the Cleric doing work with Smite or whatever he runs. So I think actually Bard's gonna go up. I think Bard is definitely very useful. So let's move that up. Next we got the Wizzy. Get him all the way up there. We'll move him to the back because he doesn't really need to be nerfed, but get him all the way up there. Iron Mace is scared of 75%. I'm gonna say it. I mean, everybody says it, but they're scared of 75%. If they would have tuned Magic Missile to maybe 75%, I think that the wizard buff or rebuff would have been a lot more well received. But instead, they buff it to 100. Magic Missile can decimate anything in the game. Not a single thing can really counter it. Their counter, a rogue, can get decimated in 4 magic missiles. So if you're quick enough, you can just and dead. And that's basically anything in the game. I think that the only maybe counter right now is a ranger with very good aim with the windless crossbow. That's about it. Because fighter, you're only gonna kill him if you get a super lucky headshot, or if he's an idiot and lets you get too close, which most of them won't because they'll just go invis. But yeah, I think Wizard needs a huge nerf. Lightning Strike does half of basically anything's health, other than Barbarian, because that's their main counter, which as it should be. But it still does probably around 35% of their health. So I think it needs a big tune down. And yeah, that's basically what I think of the Dark and Darker characters right now. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with me. Rogues, please leave me alone. Or actually don't. Give me the engagement. Love you. See ya. Peace out.